Hey, it's Wally, and I just want to thank so many people, our potties, the people that listen to the radio station, for partnering together to make a difference in the lives of Ukrainian refugees. This thing over there is a mess. We're entering the 5th month of this, and it's just heartbreaking to see what people are going through and how they're having to live. But here's the upside. Together, we have sent more than 100,000 meals to Ukraine already. These meals are being distributed by 3,500 pastors who are risking their lives every day to minister to these families and get them the food that they need. So if you've given, thank you so much. Now, we're down to the last couple weeks of the month, and how cool would it be to up the ante here and send another 50,000 meals by the end of July? I know it sounds like a lot, but at 25 cents a meal, that's not a lot, and a little bit from each of us can go a long way. I know I've already done my part because I'm never going to ask you to do something I won't do, but think about it. $100 sends 400 meals, and then if you roll that out and do $500 or $1,000 gift, imagine the impact that you're having. So if you want to get involved, you've seen all the hardship and the heartache and thought, man, I wish there was something I could do. This is something you can do. Just join us by texting Wally to 91999. That's Wally to 91999. And the cool part of this is, man, you get to be the answer to a mom's prayer as she's wondering how she's going to feed her children. Again, text the word Wally to 91999. Welcome to the Wally Show Aftercast. All the stuff we did not get to during the course of the show today, and including some things that would not ever make it on the show today. Betty Rock and Gavin. I don't know how Gavin lands on this, but Betty Rock was super uncomfortable for 6 minutes and 15 seconds.
Because there was a lady, her name is Judy. She'll probably live in infamy. I know Wally keeps a list of people that have irked him, like the lady that blocked you from the driveway here to get in because she wanted to put on her lipstick. There was another guy. Oh, the barbecue guy.
Barbecue guy in Georgia.
Yes.
Blue Ridge Mountain, Georgia.
Yes.
That's a guy. I think about him every day.
But now Judy might add herself to the list. We were talking about tattoos, and she called in, but she didn't start at a 3 and gradually build up to a 10. She started at an 11 and then exceeded to a 15.
So she actually did, because I was in the other room taking stuff.
Right.
Saw a little bit of passion in the other room at first, and then realized that you weren't getting off that call.
Right. Because we were trying to do something else. It wasn't about, the conversation was not about tattoos. We were trying to get to something else. And Betty keeps reminding me, we got a minute left. We got 2 minutes left. You know, we gotta bump on. And I was all in, man. Like, she got under my skin and I was all in.
But she came in on fire.
Yeah, she came in hot.
Yeah, she came in throwing hands. And so Wally, instead of letting it just, diffuse itself, you escalated the situation.
Absolutely.
But she caught you on a bad day at a bad time. And so it just went on for 6 minutes. And I'm thinking we need to have a call ready to go. And I see our time ticking away. And I'm thinking, why are we feeding this?
And I'm just
keep going.
I'm so blinded by my rage at that point. Let me give you just, here's the thing. We don't play this stuff for everybody on the show, but I'm going to give you just a smidge of how this conversation was going. This is an excerpt, and this is not even the worst that it was. So here's just to give you an idea. You've misunderstood Scripture. You have misunderstood Scripture.
You think? No, I have not. You are going to give account to God for every person that does this, and you will burn in hell for it.
I will.
Because
well, I will tell you what. I will tell you what. If the Lord put me next to you for all eternity, I would choose hell.
You know
so
what?
that's where I went wrong. I went off the rails a little bit. If you've listened to the regular podcast, you'll hear kind of where I did. I literally felt bad. I'm like, she came at me hot. I should have been the bigger person. I should have been calmer, and I should have handled that situation and handled myself far different. Mm-hmm. But I did not. I chose the
We're all
opposite.
Guilty.
Yeah, I chose the other way today. She hit me on the wrong day where she was looking for a fight and I gave her one, and I shouldn't have done that. But there was a time in my life when that used to feel really good. Like I missed that. And when I worked in mainstream radio, this was every day. day. You made somebody mad every day,
sounds horrible.
and you would argue every day. Like, that's just what you did. And so it kind of took me back to that stuff. And it got even crazier than that. Like, she was like, you probably go to a Baptist church. Well, you're a cult, and then I'm all in
What
at
a
that
claim.
point. Like Betty said, I'm throwing hands at that point.
Cash me outside. How about that?
Yeah, that's the thing. And Betty just is so uncomfortable in this and is trying to just stay on the show, and I'm not having it, But again, again, you learn, and this is where I look at my own life and I go, okay, there's baby step growth here, because before I would have spent the rest of the day laughing about it and like sharing the audio with people. I'm like, oh, I got in this fight with this lady. It was great, and now I'm like, after it was done, I'm like, you know what? I feel bad. Like, that lady's obviously not happy. She's I'm going to say a little on the judgmental side, but I think that her position was well-intentioned because she really believed I was in the wrong and wanted to make sure that I wasn't leading people astray. I think her execution was bad, just like my execution of my defense was bad, And so I am curious because, like, Gavin, does that stuff make you uncomfortable? I know it makes Betty super uncomfortable.
I think it makes me uncomfortable to a certain extent. I was out of the room for most of it, per se, but when I came back in, it was with the understanding that that's what was happening. And ultimately, I'd gotten to this point where I was like, I do kind of want to go see how this goes. Yes. And so it's become a minor interest on my part, but it's also one of those things where if it was any circumstance other than a person who was obviously cranky, then I'd feel like different about it.
I think if my job wasn't on the line, I'd be like, pop the popcorn, let's do
A little
this.
bit, sure.
I'm excited.
In my defense, in the past, I would have wanted to make this my ringtone.
You will burn in hell for it.
Well, your job's not on the line. If anyone would get fired, it'd be me. So you'll be fine. They love you. But our boss came in about something else, and I'm trying to get better at like spearheading things too, because things grow legs, and sometimes they'll come back around and bite you. And so I was like, oh, hey, just so you know, if you get a really angry email from a lady today that says that I'm the worst person and I'm going to burn in hell, I deserve some of that. Like, I was culpable. Like, I stoked the flame and the fires and was not the best me today. So just so you know, I won't lie.
Is that what you're going to tell Jesus tonight as you're saying your bedtime prayers?
Oh, he already knows. Yeah, he already knows. And in full disclosure, he was like, I get it. She's tough. All right, so let's get on to some of the other stuff today. Lady Rock, what you got?
Oh, that's me.
Yeah,
Okay.
We're just going to do all your stuff today.
Oh, okay. So if you remember, JoJo, she is that girl that wears all the sparkly bows in her hair. Wasn't
from Dance
she on
Moms.
Dance Moms?
Yep.
Well, anyways, she did this TikTok trend where you tell who the rudest celebrity was that you met, and then also the nicest one you met. She did one recently, posting a video, and she called out Candace Cameron
Bure. Like puree, yeah.
Yeah, Bure as the rudest celebrity that she's ever met.
Okay, now this is what's interesting about this, because Candace Cameron is a believer, and she seems like super nice, and you're wondering, like, what could the altercation have been? Could she have hit him on the wrong day? That's honestly, like, that's my thing. I try to be really kind to people, especially when I'm out in public and things like that. I'm super accommodating, and I don't want anyone to ever have a bad experience. When someone calls me and comes at me, sometimes I react, and so Judy had a bad day with me. It caught me on a bad day. And
she could say you're the rudest.
100%. And she would, based on just the conversation alone, without any of the context, she would be 100% right to say that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. She went into more detail because actually the word got to Candace, and she wanted to know, well, what did I do to you? I don't even remember doing anything.
Good for her. Like, you should. If someone's calling you out, it's fine to go, okay, what'd I do?
Right. And so they got to talking, and come to find out, it was because JoJo, when she was 11, she shared a red carpet with a bunch of celebrities, but one of those was Candace. And she's a huge fan. JoJo is a huge fan of Full House. And so she asked for Candace's autograph. And she claims that Candace looked at her and she was like, not now. And so she took that as a very rude thing to do. And I guess has held that ever since, because now she's like 19 or 20.
Yeah.
And so for 8 years, she's held on to that. Well, anyways, Candace, being the good person that she is, called up JoJo, asked her to explain everything. And then she posted a video later explaining how it went.
And I told JoJo how much I've always appreciated her because she has been a good role model because of her positivity. We had all the feels and it was all good. There's no drama.
No, that's interesting. Yeah, because sometimes you do things online, like you pop off at somebody and then you don't think it's going to get back to you and you don't think anything of it. So she's like, yeah, I got to come up with a celebrity that I'm mad at, Candace, and because she dissed me when I was a kid. And it's so not a diss, but in her mind it was.
Well, to me, I think it is because she knows as a 19 or 20-year-old, she knows how social videos can have an impact on people's opinions of you.
Sure.
And so I think she should use her platform very wisely. And I don't think that was a wise thing to do, especially when that celebrity doesn't even know what they've done to you.
Right.
Like, you should talk to that person first.
Right. You're not in a beef with them.
Yeah.
You're just answering a question and doing a trend.
I don't think it was wise.
But you forget there's another person on the other end of that. Because really, too, like, it could have been Candace was an adult talking to an 11-year-old kid and was like, not right now, sweetie. Like, I'm doing something else. Like, it might not have even been this major diss, but as a kid, you perceive it that way. Now, if JoJo took that and use that as rocket fuel for herself to go, I'm going to make sure that I will always treat everybody that wants my autograph kindly, and I will always spend the time with them. Then there's some positive that comes out of that. Like my daughter, she had done this one play in college, and it was actually geared towards kids. And she came out, and these little girls just wanted to meet her and get her autograph and things like that. And she was having fun with it and stuff. And we had years before had gone to New York, and Ramin Karimloo, who was like one of her idols, was super kind to her, and everyone that she had talked to from Broadway was super kind to her. And it was cool to see her paying that forward. And I'm like, always remember that. Always remember the people that were kind to you. If you get to a place where you have notoriety, don't forget that, and always treat the people kindly that got you there, because they're the ones that can keep you there too, you know. And that's how you become successful. For King and Country, I still remember them to this day. Freezing cold weather, snowing, sleeting outside, and they were playing little quick songs outside of Winter Jam down the line for all the people waiting in line. Like, they just kept going down the line, and they'd set up and they'd play, and they'd set up and they'd play. And because they cared about their fans, because they realized that's how we're going to get anywhere, and they've continued that through their whole career. Like, they're so good to their people, and that's a primer, you know. Like, for bands coming up and people coming up, you can look at somebody's stage show and like, oh, I want to have that lighting rig, or I want to have stages that move. It's like, look at how they treat people. That's what you want to emulate. So there you go.
Sure.
What else you got, Rock?
There's another TikTok trend where we were talking about it. I don't remember if it was Aftercast or podcast, but you play the game, he's a 10 but.
Yeah.
Or she's a 10 but. Anyways, so this game is being played by some nurses, and they posted a video, but they were giving situations where it was about birth dads and how they would, like, rating them in the delivery room. I thought it was pretty funny.
He's a 10, but he leaves mid-delivery. He's a 2. He's a 2, but he kisses her on the forehead after she delivers. A 10. He's a 10, but he tells her she doesn't need an epidural.
That's a negative.
He's a 2, but he cries at delivery.
I'm going to say 8.
Oh,
He's a 10, but he brings his Xbox to delivery. A 4.
Oh, just a 4.
Oh, 4. Then
Just a 4.
Hey, that's
No.
just slightly below average.
Yeah, a 2 is like, oh yeah, you probably shouldn't have done that. A 4 is like, just do better on the next one.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
good grief.
Okay, that was good.
How did y'all turn a negative into a positive?
No, that was good.
We did turn it into a positive. You're right. That's a 4.
The one about crying, though, in the delivery room.
Oh, she went from 2 to 8. I had it backwards.
The score.
Yeah, I had it backwards.
Did you cry?
Oh, yes.
During Haley's birth?
Oh, yes. It was, my feet hurt.
Yeah.
I stood for so long.
Oh my gosh, you are the absolute worst.
No,
person.
I did. Oh my gosh. I can't even begin begin to tell you the flood of emotions that are there, and then coupled with fear right after that.
It's tears of happiness, tears of fear, tears of sadness.
Tears for fears. They are absolutely intertwined. And especially like that night and the next night when the nurses have helped you with everything, and then they leave this little bundle in a bean pod thing with you, and they're like, hey, you guys have a good night, we'll be here if you need anything, and then they just go. And all of a sudden you are responsible for this thing that you do not know how to take care of at all.
Scary.
Nothing has prepared you for this, and it is scary. The first night home is really bad, because at least then you knew you could be like buzz, 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 and someone would come in. The first night home and the baby's crying and you're just looking at your wife, she's looking at you, and you're both going, I don't know what to do.
I think that's why it's always, if you have the opportunity, it's always a good idea to have your mom, someone's mom, stay there, whether it's your husband's or your own, just to have a mom there, an experienced person that has been through this before, maybe multiple times, and they can walk you through it.
Yeah, there's such, I don't even, Gavin, see if we have it. I don't think we have it in there. Nate Bargatze, Shake the Baby. See if we have it in there. It is one of the best comedy bits about having a child and how like you just forget everything in the minute and in the moment, for sure. Yeah, I don't think we have it in there. But if you get a minute and you check it out, Nate Bargatze, it's really funny. I'm not going to do it because if I start trying to do it, it's never as good as when you hear it from him. Oh,
yeah, you'll butcher it.
Yeah, his delivery is so precise.
It is
what makes it really funny.
So good.
So, all right, so you ready to do some birthdays?
Sure, but we don't have any.
Oh, good news. I have one. I've got one here. This is from April. It says, this is from my sweet kitty roommate, celebrating 11 years of life today. I'm just a potty, especially with your show. I live in Northwest Washington, and my kitty is very talkative, loving tortoiseshell who wishes her mommy could just stay home all day. I get that, actually. Her question was, if you could talk to your pets for a day of mutual understanding, what would you ask them?
Oh, my goodness.
I know exactly what I would ask Sasha. Why? Why in the heck do you have 2 litter boxes and you still now choose to use the potty and do number 2 right by the closet door? Do not understand it.
That is annoying.
I don't know why. I've tried everything. She just has gotten it in her head that this is what I'm going to do now. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. I don't know if she's being spiteful. I just don't know. And it's driving me bazonkers.
Bazonkers, sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Berserk. It's driving me berserk or bonkers. I got those two confused.
If I could ask Beans, my little Buford Beans. Anything.
Am I hurting you? It's probably what you should ask.
No, I don't care.
When I squeeze your head, does it hurt?
You know, Nick Nack was saying the other day, because my acute aggression, he gives me lockjaw. Like looking at him, it hurts my jaw because I just want to grip my teeth and like just punch him in the face. But he's so good about like I'll put his head between my hands and I'll like squeeze it just a little and like I'll push everything forward.
So he's just a little snout? Yes.
And then I'll kiss his little nose. Yeah. And he just, like when I'm done, I let go and he just shakes his head and he just sits there like he doesn't.
Speaking of that,
care.
Last night as I'm drifting off to bed, my cat, Sasha, jumps up on the bed, and she'll always get in between me and Marty, and then she'll kind of lay in my arm and fall asleep there for a little bit, and then she gets up and goes around. So last night, she gets there, she's getting all situated, she lays around, and I'm kind of drifting off to sleep, and all of a sudden, I feel this snout right at my face, and she'll usually like just smell you, but that's it. That's where she stops. Then she proceeds to put her snout on my mouth, and like so her little hairy snout thing is right on my lips. And then she's like, "I'm gonna raise this ante a little bit here," and then all of a sudden just sticks her tongue out and licks my lip. I'm like, "What? When did we start doing this? Like, what is no
good night kiss?"
Yeah, I'm like, no.
I think that's sweet.
That's loving.
I'm like, we're not doing this. No, we're not doing
precious.
this. No, I don't like when dogs kiss you in the mouth. That's gross.
Aww.
And I'm like,
yeah, that's a little weird.
Yeah.
Well, if I could ask Buford Beans anything, I would want to ask, why do you love Gilly so much? My knickknacks cat, Gilly, she's 6 years old, so she's a lot older than Buford. Anyway, he wants to be anywhere and everywhere she is. And to the point where he uses her bottom as his pillow when he's sleeping. Like he just wants to be, you get that?
Yeah. Precious.
He just wants to be with her all the time. And she just does not care. And I wish he would treat me the way he does Gilly.
You want him to sleep on your
for
posterior.
sure.
Yeah.
I would take him in a heartbeat.
Yeah. I think this is also a picture of me and you, how like I want to be around you and like be your best friend, and then you just tolerate me.
You know what? There is a lot of truth in that because Beans is very hyper.
Yeah.
And it's very annoying for Gilly.
Right.
And Gilly always tries to keep her distance, but seems to not be able to just get rid of him.
Right, exactly. It's you and me played out in front of you. So think about that next time you talk to your cat. What about Jasper or Ellie, Gavin?
I would talk to Jasper. He needs to be talked to. I would only ask him to give me like 2 more hours on Saturday morning.
Oh,
I would just ask him for that, because just this last weekend, like I rolled over at 5:15 or so to adjust, go back to bed for a couple hours, and he was ready and just started doing his little shuffling in bed where he's like ready for you to get up. So I would just ask him to give me just 5 more minutes, but also just 2 more hours on Saturdays, and I think I'd be a healther person.
Betty told me the other day, she was like, I slept for 11 hours. Like, oh my God.
Honestly, so last Friday, Nick Nack was out of town. And so I don't have anyone there to keep me accountable. And so I took a 2-hour nap on the couch. And I was like, well, that might, no, I thought, well, maybe that'll be good for me, because then I won't sleep the day away on Saturday, because I typically do that. And I don't want to do that. I want to be able to enjoy my day. But anyways, I went to bed around 10. And I woke up around 9 or 10.
How?
I just can sleep.
Yeah.
But does Beans do anything that would wake you?
Beans doesn't stay in my room, and that is sad for me. I want him to get, because Clementine, my cat that I had before, she was great about staying in my bedroom, and she would just stay there all night. She didn't need anything. But Beans just has to be by Gilly, and he'll sit there at the door just.
Yeah.
So he's not in there with me.
Well, I think that's going to do it for our little Aftercast here thing today. And we'll do this all again tomorrow for Thursday. We're getting through this week. We're getting close. Yeah.
Also, I'm making plans for the weekend, so that's exciting. But I won't tell you till Friday.
Oh, I'm on the edge of my seat.